Without a shadow of a doubt, it's the Cronkite Show in social media history. I want to welcome you to another episode of the War Zone. I got my man in the building, Donovan Sadiq. I got the Queen, Dimitri K. And I am the 5-star general. We love our fans. And tonight, Dion Hayes gets to sit in the hot seat with three motherfuckers that love to eat greedy. We're going to talk about, black people, man. Why we ain't dealing with our internal black pandemic? What's the problem? Say, man, let's get to it, man. Say, I want to welcome y'all to another episode of the War Zone, and I want to thank you for tuning in, because without you guys, we would not have a show, and you are the best audience in the world, so thank you, thank you, thank you. I want to touch on three things real quick. Welcome my man back into the podcast business, the talk show business. My good friend, Jack Yates line, Missouri City Councilman Jeffrey Bonin. If y'all missed it today, man, the Real Talk Junkies come on at 12 o'clock on Wednesdays. He had State Representative Harold Dutton on the show, and you want to definitely tune in to Jeff, because Jeff is one of the premier African American newspaper writers in the country. You want to do that. I meant to say this yesterday, but I forgot. And I'm gonna dedicate this show to 61 cats that I got on with for like 4 years. Back in 1985, we achieved the pinnacle. We won the Texas 5A state football championship exactly 35 years ago yesterday. My Jack Yates Lions teammates. Never seen a team like this here. The lies that have been told about the greatest state champion in Texas high school football history. They will not mention the first all-black high school. They will not mention, the fact that we had 7 people on that team go to the NFL. They will not mention that in the all-greater Houston football team, 21 of 22 starters made the team. That's never been done before. It's never been done after. And the good thing is every time I watch Friday Night Lights, I actually laugh, because our final victim that year were the Friday Night Light boys. And I remember the score, December 21st, 1985, Yates 37, Odessa Permian 0. They didn't even cross the 50-yard line that day. And they will never label us the greatest. Whether you know it or not, we're the only state champions that never had their medals draped around their neck on the field of play, because they didn't bring enough for us. They only brought enough for Odessa. So our coach wouldn't take their little 20, 30-something medals unless he had them all for us. So kudos to my brothers, man. And once again, the Houston Independent School District has failed to win a state football championship for 35 years from the day that we did what we did. And Janelle Dawn asked, did Yates play Smiley? Yeah, we beat the hell out of Smiley in the preseason game. We beat the hell out of everybody. That's all it was. The greatest state champion ever laced the field, not an understatement. You go back, you can pull up the championship game on YouTube, and then you tell me. And the last thing, I'm a big hip-hop fan, and today we lost an icon. We lost an icon, man. I mean, Ecstasy from Whodini. Say, man, that was one of my favorite groups. Always a stand-up guy. I've never heard anything bad about this brother. And just, when they first started, people don't even realize that the sound that they had, the Freaks Come Out at Night, the Big Mouth, they got that music from London, England. They got that music from London, England. So, I just want to send prayers out to this man's family. He's going to truly be missed, because to this day, they could rock a show, man. They could rock a show, man. So the whole Whodini family is in the game. He was very influential in helping Chuck D when they were on the Fresh Festival tour, to keep his composure. Chuck was young, first tour. He was always nervous, and Ecstasy was one of those guys that helped him keep his composure. But the most notable thing, I think a lot of people didn't realize, that a 12-year-old Jermaine Dupri, super producer Jermaine Dupri, was actually a dancer for Whodini And that's how he was able to start his rap career. Donovan, what's going on, my friend?
Wow, yeah. Welcome to the Wednesday edition of the War Zone, you guys. Also, let me add on to that, who also was back there. Remember that song, Roxanne, Roxanne, UTFO, Dr. Ice, and the Kango Kid were backup dancers for Whodini. So they opened the door for a lot of the artists. You know, I know we have a lot of younger people that, you know, don't know what real hip hop and all that stuff's about. But I mean, very, very shocking. I was living in Japan at the time, and oh, you can't play that at a school dance without telling your lady, one love, one love. You know how it's going to go down, to pardon all of his cronies and friends and family and Jared Kushner's dad, everybody he can, you know, do. Now, here's one thing you guys got to understand. They talk about him talking about a self-pardon. That's never been challenged in law. I hope he tries it, because you got to think about this. You can't decide. You can't be a juror in your own case. So that thing's going to be shot down from day one. That's like him going to the Treasury and saying, I'm going to rob the Treasury, but I'm going to pardon myself because I'm the president. So that's really not going to happen. But we wanted to go to law and let him go ahead and try it. I've been down a little bit. I've got some dental stuff going on. You guys, I'm telling you, one thing I know, especially if you like that one lady that you like, women do not like brothers with bad grills. Get your grill fixed. Make sure it's nice and pretty and all that other good stuff you got to do. Because, you know, when you come up to them, they first look at you. They look at your teeth. Get your grill fixed. But a lot of stuff going on in the news. But we got special guest host today, Dion Hayes. Welcome to the show. We're going to get into it.
We look at your teeth and your shoes. Anyway, no, so before we give it to Gary and then to Dion, I just want to piggyback on the whole Whodini thing. They also, in 1982, had the first rap that was actually set to a video. But yeah, great memories with Whodini. Grew up listening to Whodini. So yeah, that was a shock. 56 years old, a baby still in the game. And so anyway, until Gary comes back, Dion, what's going on with you? Introduce yourself.
Hey, can you hear me? Dwayne Hayes, I'm here live, Houston, Texas, Harlem, Clark. Originally from Lake Charles, Louisiana. I've been out here in Texas now for about 12 years, and I'm happy to be a part of the show. I like what you guys are doing. I'm glad that that you guys had this platform to be able to speak to our community, to be able to get the word out about certain things and educate our people to certain things that's happening around us. I respect you guys greatly, and I'm glad to be a part of the show today.
All right, so go ahead, Gary.
Well, I tell you what, my man was very vocal last night, and one thing we don't shy away from is allowing the viewers to come on. If you got an opinion, man, and you want to sit down and talk to us, send us an inbox and we'll bring you on and we'll discuss it. I think you got to kind of clarify, Dion, what you want to talk about, and I think we all on the same level, but express your concerns about Black America.
Right now, man, it's so many things that's facing us that I think Black people, we are completely blind to. It's down to a point almost to where everything's always about racist, and we don't know nothing else. Everything is just racist. Past that, then what's going on? We basically looked at in the world right now like handicapped kids that's getting represented in every part of the world, like by pimps. Everything around us, from our politicians to our entertainers to the athletes, rappers, everything around us. Everything is always about entertainment, and nothing is really even being taken seriously anymore. We living in a time right now where we getting ready to lose one of the best presidents we ever had. This country ever had. He's did more for Black people in 4 years than the last 4 administrations. 4 administrations more for Black people, and we let him go. He's racist. Yeah, and
hey,
then
man, you got an extra pair of pants around there because they're gonna get ready to eat you up.
Hold up. Hey, yeah. Hey, bite into it. Not only that, but we gonna put in Joe, I started my own slave system by it. Now, I'm still trying to figure out what sense that make. Like, this man has showed us for decades, where he's staying with the black community, and now we're gonna put him in office and thinking that we really gonna get something for him. And I thank Ms. K for posting that video of the video with Joe Biden and the black leaders. What do we expect? He hadn't even talked to Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter has raised over $2 billion out of all the protests, all the cities they done tore up. How much of that money that went to black families? To each one of those people that they was protesting for that died. None of it. If you even read their platform and find out what they stand for, it's like, man, you'd have to be a fool to follow these cats. You know, I mean,
you'd either have to be a fool or just openly gay.
Right. But if you tell that to the average black person, man, I don't want to hear that. I was having a conversation with a brother today, and I'm telling him certain things about this virus. You openly willing to go and take a virus, a vaccine for something that you know what I'm saying, from a man, for you gonna take a vaccine for a man-made virus coming from a man that's talked about depopulating the earth for over 15 years now. What sense that make? I mean, where we at?
Donovan?
Well, I'm gonna, agree on some of your points. I mean, and here's where I disagree with you. No one president could do much in 4 years. That's where my disagreement with you is. But again, I do agree the fact that Trump being a Archie Bunker type person, I wouldn't say he's racist, because we know he got down with Omarosa and probably, tickled a little over there, got him a little sister this, a little sister that, like the slave master does. But has he done more than most presidents? Absolutely. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. But see, here's the problem, Dion. We don't want to hear that. We love symbolism. We don't want to look at the facts. Look at how he's pardoning these people right now. He said, to hell with the way the federal prison does, who's right and who's wrong. I'm going to do it my way. All you need to do is get in front of this man and say, hey, man, I think this would be a great idea. Would you do that? He'll look at it and say, oh, yeah, let's go ahead and do it. Is he a racist? Is he this? Possibly. But what person isn't? We had a black president in there that didn't do nothing for black people. So will we call him a racist? He didn't do nothing for black people. So is he a racist? Oh, no, that's right. He's black. So we got to give him a pass. If you take the pudding by its taste, this man has no problem spending money. Now, don't get me wrong. I hate people that keep saying, oh, government should be run like a business. That's bullshit. That is total bullshit, because businesses can't print their own money. Businesses can't regulate themselves. Businesses have to go by a certain rule, whereas government, we can do all those things. So you can't equate the two. There's just no way, no how. So Trump is a businessman. He's a very terrible businessman. But guess what? He doesn't stop trying. I mean, everything that he's done, he's failed, but he doesn't stop trying.
Demetri?
Wow. I will say this. So I got a few questions, but as we know, Trump has pardoned almost 50 people as of right before we came on here, total between yesterday and today. And one of those people was Jared Kushner's dad, who, did a whole bunch of nonsense, just really a bunch of nonsense. But, just keeping with the thought that he's done. And I agree with you. He's done some things for black people, but I'm like, we got a whole lot of black people in prison. Mainly a lot of Black Panther Party who we know are in there over some, trumped up stuff, no pun intended. So, unless he lets them out tomorrow or something, why hasn't he pardoned any of them since he's so pro-black people? Now, I know he's let out, a couple of people like Alice, I can't think of her last name, but the black lady who was doing some time for low-level drug offenses and stuff like that. But we have some, real, political prisoners sitting there and have been there for 40, 50 years. So since he's doing all this pardoning of his homies, and to be fair, most presidents on their way out, they pardon their friends or, people they have ties to who have done something wrong. So that's not odd. But I just keep wondering why everybody keeps overlooking our Black Panther Party, who, has been basically rotting in jail. And then also so if you can answer that. And then what are some of the things that you like that Trump has done for Black people?
Let me get back to Donovan first, because I like how you said that, but I disagree with you that the government should be ran like a business. It is a business. It is a business. It took a businessman to get in there and start turning things around. When you have a deficit of $3 trillion every year and you spending all this money going to all these different countries, come on now, something got to turn around. Something has to turn around. Not only that, let's talk about some of the, the man has a lot of business that's failed. A lot of business that's failed. But I look at it like this. I'm an entrepreneur. I started my own business. One business. Do you know how hard it is to run a business? One business? This man just started, build buildings all the way across the world. We forget about what was it, USFL? He started that. It was the NFL that shut that down because he was getting ready to overpopulate that. Come on, the man, we cannot knock his business success. We can't do that. You know what I mean? Who else has achieved what this man has achieved in America?
Well, I got to say this, I got to correct you on that. He doesn't build anything. That's why New York will not loan him money. He cannot get any loans in the United States because he goes bankrupt. He's not a builder. He never was a builder. What he does is he gets other people to build it and he licenses his name. So, that's a misconception. Maybe you didn't know that. I don't know if you knew that or not. He does not build anything.
Also, to your point, you're not jumping here. So he does lease his names. And if you remember when he first got elected and he started doing all the nonsense, places, buildings, actually hotels and different, structures around the world started peeling his name off. They're like, we don't want anything to do with him. And to Donovan's point, he was such a bad businessman where he couldn't get a loan. And Deutsche Bank was the only bank that would loan him money. And now they're on his bumper like, yo, you need to pay us our money. And so, yeah, that's not necessarily true that he's a good businessman. He's gone bankrupt more times than one could count. But go ahead.
Well, I want to chime in. When you look at failed presidents, and a lot of y'all don't remember, what the hell did Ronald Reagan do? What the hell did Reagan do? It was horrible when he was president. Now, as far as being somebody that fails at something, let's look at the baby Bush. Let's look at the young Bush. Let's go back to when he was in the oil field. His daddy gave him an oil company. It was successful when he gave it to him. He bankrupted the company. Then he decided he would own the Texas Rangers baseball team. He bankrupted Texas Rangers. Then he became the governor of Texas. The man was horrible, but he ends up as the president of the United States and ends up in a bunch of shenanigans. And I think that a lot of people I'm not a big Trump fan, but I'm a realist and I know what I'm talking about, that a lot of people don't know some of the failures of past presidents. So they just lean on Trump and look at what he did. And I'm going to be honest, which president do you think that we've had in the last 30, 40 years that could have managed this pandemic? This wasn't no U.S. pandemic. This was a worldwide pandemic. You see what I'm saying? And I believe that in that position, to call them successful, you got to give them more than 4 years. You have to give them more than 4 years, because the ones that get 4, then we automatically label them a failure. But Trump, and I say this here because me, I like to stir up things. Trump was a freak before he got in office. Bill Clinton was a freak while he was in office. He was down there getting a little meat played with while he was in office. But black people still rock with him.
Yeah.
I was one of them that was a big Bill Clinton fan. He got on there and the Arsenio Hall show and played the saxophone, and we dubbed him the first black president. And he was actually one of the worst presidents for black people ever. A lot of people don't realize when he signed that NAFTA agreement, Joe Biden came right behind that in '93 and signed that crime bill. Both of them came together and sent a bunch of us to jail. The DOJ warned them at that time that that's exactly what was going to happen. When they signed that NAFTA agreement, all of the floodgates from the borders opened up. Drugs came in because there was so many different trucks at the borders that was coming from Mexico. They couldn't check them all, so they knew it was going to be an overburden of drugs coming in over the border. So what did they do? Instead of them making provisions, they go and bring the crime bill out and then earmark the same year $6.2 billion to build more prisons. So this was intentional. This was intentional. They knew at that time what was coming and what they was getting ready to do. And this is what black people don't understand. When in '88, when he made that bill to disperse the difference between crack cocaine and powder cocaine, who was that to target? That was to target us. That was to target us. And people sit up there, and I was talking to a brother the other day. He said, well, man, that didn't bother me. That didn't affect me because I wasn't out there selling drugs. I wasn't out there on drugs. But you had somebody in your family that was. Somebody around you that was.
You know what I hate? When we have that discussion, people want to have that discussion. We might be in the barbershop, wherever. Oh, man, they had to do what they had to do. Man, stop that, man. He was out there selling crack with me. You already know what it was, homeboy. And the women that complained about it say, man, you wasn't selling crack, but you were dating a drug dealer. You ain't had no problem. You had a problem with the crack man, but you ain't have a problem with the crack money. But I mean, dudes selling crack ain't getting 40 years, but you got people raping kids and they getting 3. Like today, I mean, I could have said it, but I don't know if y'all saw it. But the Pope in the DMs of a porn star. The Pope in the DMs of a porn star. And we can't understand why they do black people like they do black people, because we don't have a voice, we ain't got no money, and they gonna keep doing it to us.
Well, you got to understand, as the only Catholic, I believe, on this panel, I believe I'm the only Catholic on this panel, the Pope need love too. I mean, come on, damn, we got. I mean, they don't know what to do. But no, here's my question, Dion. Knowing what you know about, how you feel about, what we need to do and things like that, there are so many people that will push back on a lot of stuff that you're saying. Oh, how dare you not be a Democrat, or how dare you support Trump? We see all that. In your opinion, why do you think it is that we can't get ahead of the game because we keep doing the same thing over and over again? I mean, what is your solution to us getting to the next level and being a better people?
First off, we have to be able to get correct news and quit following patterns. Quit following patterns. Malcolm X told us back in 62, 61 that if you vote Democrat, you not only a chum, but you a traitor to your race. Ever since then, every year after that, they come up with some type of plan, some plot or whatever, and we hook, line, and sinker. They send we got whatever black politician, whatever black athlete, whatever black entertainer, they send them all down to our communities, and next thing you know, here it is, we in line with them. And it's been year after year after year after, but what are we getting for that? And we done got so used to getting nothing to where we don't even complain about it no more. When Obama was in office, man, he didn't do nothing for black people. Well, he was the president of the whole United States. What was he supposed to do for black people? It was plenty he could have did for black people. So we've gotten to the point to where we used to not getting anything. Lobbyists pay millions of dollars to different politicians in order to get what they want accomplished. People pay politicians all the time. If we don't collectively come together as a group, we would never get anything. But we at a point now to where we done lost our voice. This was our chance in this election to show Democrats you don't have us hook, line, and sinker the way you thought you had us. We let that opportunity go, and now they're going to make us a permanent underclass. He told those black leaders just the other day, get behind the Mexicans. They next up. You got to learn to work with them now. But
well, that's a problem for me because I'm gonna be honest with you. I know I got some Latino friends that tune in, and I'm not shy because I say what I say. You know, when Trump came up with the idea for the wall, Gary Monroe, did you have a problem with it? No, I didn't. I really didn't because the good people, you know, some of them good, some of them bad. They come over here, they take jobs from people that are already here. You know, you pay them less wages. You won't pay us a fair wage, so you allow them to come in and you pay them less money. You know, you got brothers and whoever, United States citizens, let me put it like that. I don't care what race, that are getting out of the prison system that could get back on their feet if they got some of these jobs that you're giving to illegal aliens. And now while they're here, you want us to foot the bill for them. You know, you want us to foot the bill for them. So I didn't have a problem with the wall. I'm gonna be honest with you. You know, people like, well, man, you say the things about, you know, the baby jails and they separating families. Well, they've been separating black families for 400 years. So I'm supposed to care about them more than I care about my people? No, I can't do that. Because if you have a conversation with them, they will tell you in their face they care about their people more than they care about black people. So this thing about we separating, you know, you're causing division. I can't separate something that was never together in the first place.
just in that stimulus package that they passed, we gonna get $600 and illegals getting $1,800. This is the stuff, you know, basically the
But
reason
you know what? Demetra says it all the time. Demetra says it all the time. They got their symbolism. They just wanted Trump out of office. They're not reading the fine print. So you're gonna give us 600, but you're gonna give them 1,800? Where's the justification in that?
Not only that, let's go back further than that with this illegal immigration thing, because we need a wall, point blank. Anytime we had a discussion before Trump came in office, it was always everybody was in agreement with having a wall. And not only that, during that time, everything was always about terrorists. And then terrorists bringing in nuclear bombs and stuff from over the border and sneaking them into America. So at that point, everybody was on board with having a wall up until Trump got in there. Now, they pandering to all these different Mexicans. The reason why, because they knowing that's going to be the next voter base for the Democratic Party. Now, let me just tell you this. People don't understand the reason why black unemployment was so low under Trump. Trump, first off, came in with that E-Verify, and I'm going to tell y'all something. I work construction. I work in the plants and the refineries on the new construction jobs, and I see, when you see this, it's very one in a few. When Trump signed that, made it mandatory for them to do that E-Verify before these cats come on here, on these jobs, oh, man, you started seeing black people out the wazoo. And I ain't talking about jobs where you making $12, $13 an hour. The average construction job starts off at $18.50 an hour. We making, there's some cats out there, and I know for a fact was not U.S. citizens that's not even legal, and these dudes was making $45 an hour. So when people come over here telling you, oh, they doing jobs that nobody else want to do, that is bull corn. Them cats can go right over there on airline to the flea market, go and get them a tweet card, driver's license, social security card, all that, and go to work Monday. And while you still sitting at home waiting for a job.
Hello, everybody. So first, I want you to answer my question. Which policy do you like that Trump has done for Black people? What's your favorite one? And also, the E-Verify didn't start under Trump. It started under Bush in 2008. But what's your favorite Trump policy that he's done for Black people?
Well, I know for a fact that he made it mandatory for jobs, employees to start doing it. Because listen, I'm gonna tell you, I was working on a job site in Freeport, and it was two guys came in, William Jefferson. I will never forget this as long as I live. Both of them had the same name, came under the same social security number, and everybody looking around like, man, we know y'all illegal. We know y'all illegal. They took them out. The next day, they back in the orientation. So that was one of my favorite things. Next favorite thing is they told us it was a lot of jobs that got shipped overseas that wasn't coming back. Obama said that how is Trump going to bring these jobs back? What is he going to wave a magic wand and bring the jobs back? We saw the steel industry come back in under Trump. I saw it. I'm an iron worker. I worked on steel, walked across steel, made from all different places in the all over the world. But I've never walked on a piece of steel that said "Made in America" until Trump.
Right. I hear what you're saying, but Trump did not. That did not originate with Trump. It originated with Bush in 2008. Now Trump did put in effect some laws and some policies that would target employers, like the one at Smithfield, I think it was in North Carolina, where they rounded up all the illegal immigrants and, the children and all that was waiting for them. So yes, he enacted some policies, but the E-Verify is not his program. So, he took it a little bit further. But what is your favorite policy that Trump has done for Black people?
It was certain things. I mean, the program with the I think it was the revitalization program for the urban communities to be able to stop the gentrification. I mean, that was a program, but really and truly, nobody really knew how to tap into that. Now, I've seen certain people that's actually, there was a cat up in Dallas. He opened up some investment firm, and he was able to go into a bunch of different neighborhoods.
What was the name of it? What was the name of it?
I can't even tell you the name of it offhand.
What's your second favorite policy that Trump has done for Black people?
It wasn't really. I'm gonna tell you to the point. I mean, it's a lot of different. One of the very first things I'm gonna tell you. Okay, check this out. One of the very first things he did. I remember when he was campaigning up in Detroit. He went to a church and he said that the civil rights movement got started within the churches. And it died under LBJ because churches were not able to spread the word politically and religiously at the same time without losing government funding. So what he did, he said, I will take away the LBJ rule and make it possible to where churches can speak on certain things that's going on in the communities and nationally and in the government. So that was one thing. And that was one of the first things he did when he got in office.
So I guess making the rules, I guess, a little bit more lenient. The separation of church and state thing is what he did for churches, but that's what he did for everybody. So how does that specifically benefit Black people? And I don't go to church, so how would that benefit me as a Black person?
And real quick, the president doesn't have the power to repeal laws, so that law is still in place to this very day.
Well, I got a question for him because Black America feels that way. Do you think that Trump actually made it more popular to be an open racist? I didn't say Trump was a racist, but made it more popular to be an open racist with what we see in America right now. And as far as unemployment, this is what I would tell people, that I think there are a lot of jobs out there, a lot of jobs we're not qualified for. We don't have the educational background. If you go and you do the research, you'll see some of the things that I'm saying. You got to know people, no question about it, to get some of these high-powered jobs. But some jobs we're just not qualified for. We're just not qualified for, and it's been that way for many, many moons under many, many presidents. So my question to you, did Trump open the door for people to be more comfortable with this open racism, and now we dealing with it on a different level now?
To answer your question, yes. And I'm going to tell you why.
But here's the second question. Here's your second question, and then you can answer both. I'm glad you said that. How did that benefit black people?
It didn't benefit us at all. It basically turned us away from the administration is what it wound up doing. Now, to tell you a little bit of, give you a little bit of history behind that, let's remember when Obama was in office. Basically, the day he got elected, I remember seeing memes on Facebook saying, all white people report to the cotton fields at 8 o'clock. And that right there rung the bell for everybody, to go in. It was time to go in on white people. You know what I'm saying? And these people spent 8 years under this. And mind you, everybody's saying that, oh, they racist. We got so many different racist white people out there, but it's not really so, because you have to remember, they overwhelmingly voted into Obama. They thought it was time for change. I've seen some racist people. People I know that's racist say that they voted for Obama. But what I'm saying is, under that administration, there was 8 years that these people spent of, you remember the movie Django? It was on that level of stuff. And in the last 2-3 years, in the last 3 years of Obama's presidency, everything started turning around to where everything in the media was geared toward us to show us as animals. That's when the whole ratchet thing started coming up. So when they started bringing up the whole police shootings and all that, it basically put in their mind that we animals. So we can't blame white people. We can't blame black people. We have to start putting the focus more on the media and start looking at all these different ways where they turning everything back on us.
Well, they consider us the new black media. We're one of the components of new black media. And if I sit here and say that I'm cool with the wall and different things, then people are going to have a problem with me, because, oh man, you're a responsible person and you're getting information out, and you shouldn't be saying those things. But the president of the United States, black, white, indifferent, should not say some of the things that Trump has said. He should not gaslight some of the situations that he's gaslighted. The bottom line, well, the Karens ain't pop up until Trump come in office. You know what I'm saying? These police shootings ramped up since he came in office. Nobody dealing with qualified immunity, and none of this shit actually benefits black people. But I tell you what he did do, by being who he was and helping his people really come out and be who they needed to be in front of everybody, you helped the sale of black gun owners go up. Thank you, my brother, because we fully armed now.
I'm not gonna overwhelmingly say, because I'm not one of them people that that believe every white person is racist. I in working in my industry, I deal with white people all day long. I think it's a difference between them knowing how to talk to us and us knowing how to talk to them. I speak to a lot of black people all the time and tell you, oh man, I don't fool with them people. I don't, how is it that you think you're gonna progress in life without being able to talk to white people? I have to talk, doing my business, I have to talk to white people every day on the phone to be able to negotiate this, negotiate that. You're basically setting yourself as a standard in life. This is how far I'm going to get. This is how far I'm going to go with my life without talking to white people. We have to learn how to be able to engage one another. That's one of the main things. Now, I'm going to tell you, with this whole racist thing, just for example, one day I went to one of the Walmart gas stations, and I'm putting oil in my truck. Pop the hood, I'm putting oil in there. I had 3 different white people come up to me. Hey man, is everything all right? You need something? They ready to damn near overhaul my engine, and all I'm doing is putting oil in here. You know what I'm saying? It's basically people trying to come out of their way and show I'm not racist. White people are sick and tired of this racist. I'm black and I'm tired of it. It's not us. It's not white people.
You don't have to show.
It's the media.
I don't think you have to go out your way to show that you're not racist. I just think you just need to be good people. Now, I will say this here, so let me aggravate some people, Demetri and Donovan, and you might be able to chime in. I believe in my heart that a lot of white people don't like us. They tolerate us. So in my lifestyle, I tolerate a bunch of them and let them know I don't like them. I want you to understand where we at on some levels, because I already know you don't like me, but I tolerate you just like you tolerate me. And I believe in my heart, I don't need white folk to be successful. I just need me and have a drive, get my ass out there and get it done. And I will cater to my community to help my people, and I will do what I do. I started a consulting business just on a whim. And guess what? I helped everybody. But I didn't necessarily need white folk to be successful.
Right. You know, so let me ask you, let me cut you off, Demetri. Let me ask you this. Now that we have the Biden administration coming in, I call it the, what do I call it, Demetri? The lockdown crew, whatever it was.
Mass incarceration ticket.
Now that we've got the mass incarceration ticket, what do you think is going to come out of that? Now that Trump is, out of office, he lost hands down, whatever. We voted blue no matter who. We got him out. That's what all the black folks were talking about. We got him out. Let me ask you, somebody who has a different perspective, and that's what I love about this show. And for all of you people, you need to start coming on this show, just like Dion, and let's just have a conversation, because you might not agree with what he says, but that doesn't mean he's wrong either. So moving forward, what are you expecting out of this mass incarceration ticket within these next 4 years?
To put it bluntly, death. If these people are willing to infect you with a disease in order to get this man out of there, imagine what they're gonna do when he get in there. Somebody got to fill these jails up. You got all. He's already has said they're gonna open up the borders, so you can wait for all these illegals to come pouring in there, and then you're gonna see the unemployment rate skyrocket among black people. We already out of work. We already out of work now. So imagine in a couple of months, you're going to start seeing the influx of these people coming in. Imagine then where the job's going to go. Somebody got to fill these jails up. You got all these different state prisons that's being run. They're sending these tickets back to the states because they got empty beds. Somebody got to fill these jails up, and guess who's going to be? You think the crime rate in Houston and all across the country is going up? Oh yeah, it's going to start going up. People got to eat. People got to eat. Have you seen some of the lines in some of these food distributions? And then they're going to turn around and give us $600? Illegals get $1,800? I mean, we don't have anything to expect when the president had already told you what to expect. Biden said, get behind these black folk. Get behind these Mexicans. He just basically pulled his pimp hand out. Look, we don't need y'all no more. He done already used Black Lives Matter. I mean, come on, that was the biggest joke for us I've never seen nothing. So, I mean, and when the white people started coming in, black people should have known it's time for us to get out and denounce this whole group, and this is not for us. They're going to tear all these cities down and blame who? Us. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So
white was already over the wall. It was already over the wall. So now they're basically making us to be basically. I mean, we're looking at ourselves. We're about to be a permanent underclass.
Well, yeah. I honestly think we're already there, because when we're hovering at 13% of the population and we're not growing for over 60 years, and we're 70% of black people are at the poverty level or below, there's a problem there. But that's on the national level.
I'm sorry not to cut you off, but one of the reasons why we agree with abortion.
Exactly. But looking at the national level, which is what you're talking about, why do you think it is we have representatives that are right there in our city council, in our city council, county, whatever, these local representatives, Congress, we are so comfortable with them getting millions of dollars in mansions. I live close to Maxine Waters. She's in South Central, but she lives in Calabasas in a $6 million mansion, while her neighborhood looks like New Jack City or worse, basically South Central, So what do you think that we need to do? And I'm just, because you're coming from a different angle. So could you tell us what it is you would do different in regards to how we vote? Or should we even be voting?
after this election, it really and truly, I mean, our vote is going to be meaningless. You know, we not going to change one way or the other what's happening because it's not enough percentage of us to be able to do it now. So our vote is not going to matter. But I like what you said about Maxine Waters. I was just in California. I had a chance to go through that district, had a chance to see where she lives, had a chance to even listen over the radio her campaign speech against the guy that was running against him. And I mean, that was some of the most ghetto-fied stuff I had ever seen in my life. It was basically like watching listening to Jerry Springer over the radio. This lady came after this man and told, oh, he doesn't even pay his child support. So how is he going to take care of the district? And all I could see her doing was this. I mean, that was on fire. I've never seen nothing like that before. But if you ride through that district, it looks like a bomb exploded over there. But we talk about her, Auntie Maxine. We got the same thing right here in Houston with Sheila Jackson Lee. I mean, I hate to say it, but I mean it's true. You know what I'm saying? If you go under 59 and see what's happening over here, man, half of these jobs, like I'm saying before, could have been rather than going to all these illegals, could be going to black people, could be going to all these people under 59. But yet she on television trying to get more money, funding, and housing for illegals. What sense does that make? What sense does that make? We have politicians that's getting paid to make us a permanent underclass, and we vote for them every election cycle. Somebody has to we have to find some kind of way to put these people to the fire. If you're gonna do this, we have to hold you to it.
Let's talk solutions. There's a lot of your cohorts over here in the comments that saying we talking about the problem, but we ain't talking about solutions. So I'm gonna start it off by saying the first line of defense is clearly the United States of America loves to build prisons, whether they're state, federal, or private prisons. In what state are they building schools? We have to attack the school system. We have to make sure that our kids are getting a quality education, because in the third grade, Demetra said it before for me, because I've said it, they start identifying our children to fill these prison beds. They start identifying our children to fill these prison beds, and they set them up for failure. That, for me, the first thing we need to do is fix the school system. And if we can't fix the school system, we need to do what the minister told us, which is start our own school system. We have to get our children educated. That's the first line of defense.
I think it was Malcolm X that said it, or one of them that said, how do we allow the enemy to educate our children? That's one of the first things that we should be doing, is educating our own children. First off, one of the things that should be implemented into the schools is the vocational programs. They started taking all the vocational programs out. I remember when I was in high school, you could take welding, you could take auto mechanics. You know, it was different things that you can get into in school, leave from there, and get a certification right after you got out of high school, just taking 1 year in college. You know what I'm saying? Bring those programs back, because that's the backbone of main workers. If you don't go to college,
so they didn't take them, they shifted them. If you're in Houston and you know the history of our school system, they didn't take them, they shifted them. They took them out of our schools, they put them in the white schools where they don't even want them. So, you know, to bring them back, and they built, so you got to understand they're not bringing them back. Let's get that straight. They're not bringing them back because they just rebuilt the schools. So if a vocational program wasn't in the master blueprint, you can't put it in the school. How do you put welding in a school that doesn't have an area to put it in, and it's a brand new school? They're not going to allocate additional money to add on a new section. You know, and in HISD, for example, you're missing 12,000 kids every day. So you got an $85 to $90 million deficit. And our biggest thing is right now, $85 million. Demetra, $85 million, $90 million in a deficit in the school district means that it's a whole lot of black teachers that will be fired at the end of the school year.
All right, so I listened to all of this, and you guys know I'm kind of like over it with, you know, a lot of round and round and all of that. I just want to address a few things. So you big up white people, Dion, a few minutes ago, but Malcolm X said, he asked us to think about it. He says, are white people our friends? Are they just friendly? Just a rhetorical. You ain't got to answer it, but it's something to think about. Also, Damon, you said black unemployment is 3%. Where is black unemployment 3%? I think it's somewhere around 15% or so, give or take. And while the rest of the country's unemployment rate was going down, black unemployment was going up, and that was under the Trump administration. Also, as far as mass incarceration happened under Republican and Democratic presidents. So nobody is completely to blame. Now, although Joe Biden, as he said, he was the author of every major and minor crime bill since 1976. So yeah, he was instrumental in the Bush and Clinton administration, including some other ones. But yeah, so it went up under everybody. So nobody's really like a saint when it comes to black mass incarceration, because black people disproportionately largely make up the prison population. And then I want you to answer my question, but I also want to, we need to see Jonelle say he's shy, because I tried to get him to come on my show too. But what does this mean to you, Dion? He says, we need to learn from nature. Ain't no birds voting. We must get back to self-preservation first. So we're talking about all these, because see, like, right now we're arguing that Trump is a better white man. Biden may or may not be a better white man, but nobody's talking about what are we going to do as black people for ourselves? Because we know as long as we've been over here in America, no white person has ever done anything to benefit black people. Yeah, they might help you fix your car, but how does that benefit black people as a whole? Yeah, they might, you know, do something nice here or there, donate $1.6 billion to Black Lives Matter that the rest of black people won't benefit from, but how does that help us as a whole? So one, if you can, or just concede that you can't, name a policy that you like that Trump has done for black people that you really like, and what does it mean to do for self? Where does that come into the picture?
When you start talking about the politics and what we doing in our daily lives, I'm gonna keep on doing what I'm doing. It's self-preservation. I'm gonna make it regardless. That whole conversation start coming up, and trust me, I mean, all of us, we have a survival instinct in us, and we will make it regardless of who's president, who ain't in there. What I'm saying is the policies that these people put up top help us. We have to have somebody in there that's going to extend out certain things to us in Atlanta. And what made the black workforce and entrepreneurship of black business skyrocket was the mayor implemented certain things. They're making it to where all these different government contracts and all these different contracts going here. So many of them had to go to black people, had to go to black businesses. So it's different things that could happen up top that could affect us down here and help us.
But until then, what do we do to, like, I just need you to answer one question, like just dead on. Just answer the question. Until all of that happens, which it has not since we've been over here, since we made the voyage through the Middle Passage, no white person nowhere, and I know that's grammatically incorrect, but no white person anywhere has done anything for black people. So until that happens, what do you propose we do in order to start doing for self? Like, okay, you say you do for self. So what are some of those things we can apply to all black people? Because that's where the real answer and solution is doing for self. So what do you have with that?
Can I jump in here real quick? Let me help.
Wait, no, he won't answer the question.
Okay, I'm gonna say this. One of the main things that we could do, we need black banks. We need to start financing ourselves, putting our money together. Until we start putting our money together, ain't nothing gonna change. Ain't nothing gonna change. We saw it through Black Week, Black Month. That we spent all our money, you know what I'm saying, with black businesses. If we did that all year round, where would we be at? But it's so much distrust in the black community to where, you know, I don't trust, you know, I mean, it's so many different. Then you start looking at the comments, somebody will post something good about a business, then here goes somebody with a negative comment. You know what I'm saying? We have too many different types of mindsets within the Black community, and it's hard for us to be able to come together to begin with. So where do we go?
That's why I'm asking you. Because you said you had, we need to start talking about solutions as far as Black people. So, and we do have Black banks. We have Black banks. I'm sure we could, start putting our money into Black banks more. But at the end of the day, all banks are still regulated by the FDIC. So they're still under government control. But I guess a Black bank is a good start. And so I just think that's, nobody's asking me, but I'll answer it. We need to start doing for self. The answers, the questions have been answered since the times of Marcus Garvey. We need to do for self. Other than that, these good white people that you speak of, they'll never respect us. And why should we care if they do? Because if we had ourselves together, we wouldn't care if they respected us or not, right? So that's what we need to be talking about, is actually doing for self. And, spend your money weak. That's crazy. Like I said, all the time, Asians don't have to remind themselves, oh, okay, this week we got to spend money with each other. They do it. They wake up and it's an instinct for them. We're the only race of people that has to admonish each other now. Don't you go spend money with anybody else. Spend money with Black people. Like, we need to get past that. So, Gary, what you got?
Well, I think, one, as long as we stay in beg mode, we ain't getting nothing. As long as we keep begging the oppressor and they got the upper hand, we ain't getting nothing. So I think one of the first things we should do, Donovan and Dimitri, you tell me, and as well as Dion, we need to develop more Black businesses. I don't give a damn what they are, whether they're a food truck, whether you buying tennis shoes from overseas and you start selling them out the trunk of your goddamn car. We need to develop more Black businesses. Now, once you develop the Black businesses, you need to hire Black workers. Do the same thing the Asians do. They hire their people. Now, once we start hiring Black people, some of you Black folk that sit high on the hog, that act like you ain't gonna work for this and work for that, you need to go work for your people. You recreate Black Wall Street. We recreate our Black wealth. And we can't do it until we start building our own businesses. Now, I got a major announcement coming in a few days with me, because it's time I have that ability, and I just want to do something different. And I'm not finna sit back on an idea. I always say to myself, an idea without action is just wasted thoughts. That's all it is. But we need to build more Black businesses. You motherfuckers can create a plan and formulate a plan to sell crack, which ends up being an illegal business, or sell whatever narcotics you're selling. Why don't you take that same hustle and do what you do? I'll be glad when Skip Flanagan puts his book out. Skip is one of our viewers every night, and Skip went through the mass incarceration thing, and the boy got out with the mind frame, and he said, I had no choice but to make myself rich. Because he was a convicted felon. He had no shot at, getting back on his feet. So he had to make himself rich. What did he do? He went got a lawnmower and a goddamn weed eater. And now he has one of the most successful, whether Black or white, yard services. I don't know what you call it at this point, because it ain't a yard service anymore. He has clients all over the state of Texas now. He had no choice but to make himself rich. We got to change our mind frame. We need to build more Black businesses.
What I like what you just said. We have to change our mind frame. Not only that, learn to start educating one another. First off, one of the biggest things it just came to me. A lot of us don't even know how to go to college. A lot of us don't know what the process is in order to even
you don't need a college education. You don't need a college education to put some
open up a Black business when you can't even, you don't even know how to go to how to even apply for college.
Okay, but you don't need a college education you don't need a college education to push a lawnmower. Right. You don't need a college education to use a weed eater. Now, if you're gonna cut some goddamn grass, take yourself out to these master communities that are being built. Put your fucking card up in them. While you're there, why don't you talk to the person that's developing the community and see if you can get the contract to do the yard work for the whole goddamn community? You don't need a college education to do that. You need some drive.
Right. I just started my own business, Transportation Assistance Alliance, Auto Sales Alliance. We call it TAAA. Auto sales, we sell cars. I don't have no college degree. You know what I'm saying? Barely got out of high school. You know, it's steps to everything. We have to first start off small before we can even get to the bigger point. But like I said, it's a lot. We have a lot of kids and parents that don't even know how to apply to help these kids to even apply for college. So we start talking about certain things. Oh, coming together, we need business, we need this, we need that. But first off, we have to start off small before we even get to that level of even opening up businesses. But even after we open up the business, we have to support one another. Make it to where we have Facebook. Make it to where if you buy a car, make it to where you buy a car, you buy it from me. We have all these different
understand
all these different Mexican Asian people going and going to their store, and then they get mad when they get disrespected behind something. Oh, we boycotting that store. Open up your own store. Open up your own nail salon. What you keep going to the people for?
Look, brother, I need you to listen to me. You saying that parents don't know how to prepare their kids to go to college. They can't help them do this here. First of all, the goddamn school system is not educating them to the degree that they can even understand how to go into college. You got valedictorians that are graduating as African Americans that can't pass the TSIs so that they don't take developmental courses in college. That watered down ass curriculum that they giving our kids on my side of town, they're not giving it to them kids in Bel Air. They got every fucking thing that they need. So a lot of days, yeah, we gonna lean on the parents, but at the same time, the school system is not preparing them to go to college. So if they can't go to college, can they do something other than sell dope and grab a stripper pole? Can we prep them for that?
Well, what did Carter G. Woodson tell us about the miseducation of the Negro? What did he tell us? He told us that while it's cool to go off and get a college degree, what was happening, now he wrote this book in the early 1900s. And he says what's going on is a lot of kids are going off to college and getting these big fancy degrees, you know, psychology and all of that. But they're not able to use those degrees because, for one, white people, and this is back then and still true now, white people wouldn't hire them. And black people really didn't have the resources to hire them. And so he says what they forgot, though, was the stuff that their parents did, whether they did laundry and, you know, blacksmiths and auto mechanics and, you know, all of that. What they should have done was revolutionize how those things were done, you know, and how to make it more efficient and all of that. And so he wasn't discounting a college education, but, you know, sometimes we get so, I guess, I'm using the word uppity, to where we don't want to do those things anymore. But, you know, those are the things, I think it was Skip that just said it. That's how Hispanics came up. They, you know, utilize the service industry. People are always going to need services. People are going to need their clothes dry clean, the cars washed, their houses clean, all of that. So it's not, in my words, an unsexy thing to do those things. But let me finish. Those are the things that will bring in money. And so I have 2 college degrees, you know, so I'm not discounting it, but I've made probably a lot more money doing things without my college degree, if that makes any sense.
You know, I just want to piggyback on what you just said, because a lot of those Hispanics, now I'm in California, I'm on a border state. We have a lot of illegals here. A lot of those Hispanics, their fathers, I get my neighbor talk all the time. The funny thing is, their kids don't want to do what daddy did, working with their hands and in the fields. So it's a phenomena that is going on in America where these kids come in here, they're living a better life than their parents, and they lose the very tools that help the dad start the business or whatever. But what I wanted to say was this: we have to get out of the point of telling our children to go to college. I was arguing with a person who was talking about how Joe Biden should be getting rid of the student debt, which he should be, right? And she argued to me that getting rid of the student debt would help a lot of Black people. Okay, 70% of all Black people live at the poverty line or below. those very same 70% of those people, in order to go to college, take a damn loan, which means that puts you even at a negative. You got out of that. Even if Joe, he said, okay, you get rid of your debt, you're back at your original starting line. You're still, you're not making $150,000, $100,000. We got to stop telling our children that everybody needs to go to college. Not everybody needs to go to college. We need mechanics. Do you know right now, and I'm just going to say this because I'm an aviation person, aviation industry, as the things get automated and the planes are flying themselves, which they are right now, you're always going to need mechanics. Do you know that that is a very lucrative field to get into? You don't need a college degree. You just need the certification. Yeah, you can work on a car, but if you can work on a car, you can work on an airplane. And we're talking about big money, but we don't tell our kids that. We don't tell our kids to do the impossible or do something that's out of the norm. Aviation's a big field. IT, big money in IT. Everybody cannot go to college and expect, I have 12 degrees. I have 12 degrees, 12 of them. Not working anywhere. Doesn't mean anything. It's just a piece of paper.
I think one of the degrees and one of the professions that kids need to not look at is the teaching profession. And it's because it don't make money. It doesn't make money. In the city of Houston, man, if them people clear $45,000 a year, they blessed as a first year teacher. You go make $45,000 a year running a goddamn Popeyes. But you went to school for 4 years to make $45,000. Hell no, you ought to be selling pills.
Let me say this: when I got off on the whole going to school part or applying for college, basically what I was the point that I was really trying to make is that we are not privy to a lot of information that's out there. We have to start finding ways to get information into the community, just like you said with the airplane aviation industry. I came from Lake Charles with Boeing, Northrop Grumman was there. I saw how it was a lot of money that'll be made. A lot of people that don't know that these type of jobs exist. I work in the construction industry. I work as in crane and rigging. People don't know that these jobs are there, that you can go and get certified to become a rigger, sooner or later operate the cranes. People don't know that these jobs are there. Pipe fitting, welding, these jobs pay good money. Good money. I'm talking about, shoot, it's weeks. I've made $35,000 to $4,000 in 1 week. People don't know that these jobs are out there. So in our communities, we first have to start plugging this information in. But one of the main things we need to, because we start talking about what Mexicans doing, their families, they keep their families together. As Black people, we don't keep our families together. We got baby mamas and 4 kids over here, kids over there. We need to start getting back to having family units, daddies in the home, and keeping our families together. That's the only way. That was the way that they broke up the black unit to begin with. That's why we all over the place. Until we come together as a family, we're not gonna get to the next level. And that was the point that I was really trying to make earlier.
Dimitri.
So the information is out there. We don't want the information. Listen, Google is free. My brother says it all the time. YouTube is the new university. You can learn any and everything. I guarantee you, if I went to YouTube, I could learn how to build a house from the ground up. So the information is there for those of you guys who go to church. It says, my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge and the rejection of truth. So once you get the information and the knowledge, you don't want it. And we say this all the time. We have my brother on the show, all the time. And he comes on my show and he gives, the financial game. And, people, I don't know, don't seem like they're very interested. But I'll tell you one thing, Donovan, myself, my brother and my sister were in an inbox meeting early this morning talking about stocks, and all of us made some pretty good money today. I would just say that. But those are the things that that go forth on these shows, but people don't really want the information. And so I beg to differ when we say we're not privy to the information. Oh yeah, but we got to make sure we get the right information. Stop, trying to get information that's not going to benefit us. Like, who gives a good goddamn what Megan and Tory Lanez and all these other people. That's the kind of information that we like. But we don't like the information that's really going to benefit us. And so, and Corliss, you made a good point. You said, you can cook and people need food. People need food. Well, the one thing people are going to do is eat. I don't care what is going on. People are going to eat. So if you could cook, put some plates together, because that's what everybody else does, especially like we talk about Hispanics. They don't get $600, $700, $800 in food stamps and go and get 2-3 baskets of bullshit. They get some beans and rice, they eat on that, and then they sell the rest off by selling, dinners and all of that. I'm just putting it out there. And Farrakhan made a good point. He says, Black people, he says, we eat bread. So if we eat bread, and I always use this example because it makes sense. We eat bread, so why not plant the seeds, cultivate the wheat, and then fashion it into bread and then put it into our own Black stores. It really is that simple. Like, we shouldn't be buying bread from it. Like, where is the Black bread store? So those are just simple things that don't necessarily take a degree. And as Gary said, degrees do not teach you hustle. You have to already have that or learn it yourself. There's nothing that's going to give it to you but you.
So you're saying a mouthful. Folks like Skip Flanagan, Gary Monroe, we old school hustlers, man. We wake up with the money on our mind. We go to bed with the money on our mind. So you got to get up every morning and figure out a way to get it done. I watch my daddy, lose his job, but that man would get up in the mornings, he ain't have no job, he'll go pick cans. Negroes ain't gonna pick no cans. They ain't finna do that. You do what you gotta do. Stop making the excuses. Remember when I told y'all I stole the bus? I took initiative. I did what I needed to do to accomplish the goal. If you don't want to be broke, get off your ass and get it done. Stop waiting for somebody to give you something. And our biggest problem in the Black community is we continue to wait on the government and white America to fund our life.
Let me say this real quick, Juwan, before you jump in there. Skip, he says, are we basing success on money or happiness? Both, because I ain't never been happy broke, just so you know.
Now, I just want to say this too. Not everybody has the same opportunities either. Just to start off, okay, when you say let's sell plates, I'm right over here in Harlem, Clark, and I don't know this area over here too good, but it's a neighborhood not too far from me where it's Mexicans get on these corners and they'll bring out their little Blackstone and they over there making breakfast tacos and all this other stuff. But let us go and try and do that. I said this just the other day. Let us go right here in Harlem, Clark, go to 5th Ward, go to 3rd, and just go sit up on the corner, bring your barbecue pit over there, and start trying to sell some food and see what happened to you. You forgot about the little black boy that was over there in Spring that was just, he walking around to different houses, knocking on doors, leaving pamphlets that he cutting grass. Finally, somebody let him cut the grass. The cop come up and trying to, basically, they was about to arrest the boy. You know what I'm saying? So we still, and I'm not making excuses, but I'm just saying it's certain things that, we have to look at that we really can't do outside our community. We can't even do in our community.
With all due respect, that's bullshit. What did our people do during Black Wall Street right after slavery? Right in the midst of Jim Crow, they didn't say, well, ain't nobody gonna let me do nothing. They did it. It's just, so at some point in time, we got to stop making excuses. Yeah, you probably not gonna sell as much barbecue as you would, anywhere else, especially in somebody else's neighborhood, but damn, at least try. Like my dad, and I tell you guys a story all the time. I had an ex-boyfriend who said, he told my dad, made a mistake, tell him I don't have a job, I'm unemployed. He says, you're not fit to walk amongst men. He said, if you don't get a lawnmower or something, go knock on some of these doors, and earn some money. He said, you can't be with my daughter. So the point that I'm making is we got to stop making excuses. Where there is a will, there's a way. And I go back to the ancestors. Our ancestors didn't have hardly a shirt on their backs, and they built communities. So if they can do it with, we got more than they have, it may not be much, but we have more than they have. And so if they could do it, we can do it too.
What I was really saying with that is not to say that we can't do it or make any excuse for it. I'm making us aware of what happened whenever other people could get to do certain things that we cannot do. We can't go and bring your barbecue pit up around the corner and see what happens. Now, I'm not telling you to knock your hustle. To find some people that'll come over to your house. I got hustles out the what? I make moonshine. sausage, boudin, beef jerky, shoot, you name it. I mean, if you want to hustle, it's hustles out here, and I hustle cars. You know what I'm saying? It's
we have to stop. We have to stop being consumers and start being entrepreneurs. So if you can hustle dope, if the average can hustle illegal dope, I'd be damned if you can't figure out a way to sell them goddamn plates. If you can hustle dope, I could be damned if you can't do hair at your fucking house. You can do something. We got to eliminate the excuses. And when I say stop being consumers, instead of taking the food stamp, you know, because nowadays you go into Sam's and buy, you can use your food stamps at Sam. They used to didn't let you do that shit. But you can go buy crab legs and all that bullshit. So why don't you take that and just open you a small little seafood business in your fucking house and start selling the crab legs instead of eating them motherfuckers? We got to eliminate the excuses.
Absolutely. And Dion, my man said, do you make mild boudin? He said he wants some.
No, you know, but yeah, you know, they see at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, excuses are like assholes. Everybody got one and they stink. We just got to start where we are. We say that all the time. Go ahead, Dion.
The thing is,
I mean, it's just having learning different techniques of going about, and like you said earlier, YouTube would teach you a lot. I didn't know anything about making boudin. I didn't know nothing about making moonshine until they started talking about it on television and started looking at all the different YouTube videos and putting stuff together. And finally, you know, say, I want to try this. I want to try that. So I work on job sites where you got 3,000, 4,000 some odd people on there. Everybody got a hustle. You know what I'm saying? I started off with beef jerky. Left from that, started doing sausage. You know what I'm saying? Went over to the moonshine and the boudin. You know, it's different. It's different hustles that you can have that can make you money and more money than you're making on your job.
You can't teach hustle. Hustle got to be in you. It's got to be in you. And I will say that, you know, you back in the day, you had to be the first one on the block, the last one to leave. So, you know, that taught me that the early bird get the worm. So that's why some days, you know, like right now, my good co-hosts, they be on me, man, you need to rest. I don't know how to rest because all I've ever done is get up every morning and go get it. That's why that your daddy said what he said to that dude, because a man gonna get up and go get it, man. He gonna get up and go get it, man. You can't expect for these women to take the goddamn skirt off in the highs when you won't put the fucking pants on. You can't expect them to do that. But I bet you can sit in that motherfucking house all day and play that PS5. That PS5 ain't gonna put no motherfucking money in your pocket. So, you know, we can monetize anything that we want. We find ways to monetize anything that we want. It's a pandemic. Older people can't go to the grocery store. So when you gonna start the delivery service? When you gonna go shop for them and start the delivery service? The one thing Trump did do for us, he forced us to have to wake the fuck up and take care of ourselves. He forced us to have to do that. So, you know, for some of us, that's not a stretch for some of us because we've been doing it for years. But this new breed of dog that feel entitled, the mamas got them laying around the house and they ain't got to do shit. You know, they don't even take the fucking garbage out. They don't do nothing. And then we expect them to be viable, you know, citizens in the community. Man, hell no. You want the dream, but you don't want the work that come with getting it. You are not going to be a millionaire unless you bust your ass. And that's all that boils down to it. So whether they were white, black, Asian, on Christmas Day, we're going to be floating around and getting plates and hanging out and drinking. And them Asians going to be right there in them corner stores waiting for you to come buy them batteries for all the motherfucking toys you done bought your kids. They ain't finna shut they means of making their money. So I don't knock them people. I watch them people. I watch them and watch how they do it. You know, if I can put 17 Negroes in a house, and we got one mortgage note. Yeah, we can live like kings. We can save a whole bunch of money. But what's the use of saving money if you ain't gonna do nothing with it? If you got a bunch of money saved up, go buy the motherfucking hood, man. They got shit on the tax rolls. I've talked to my Black Panther brother Whodini in St. Louis. Go to his house. Man, how much this house cost? Man, I bought this off the tax roll for $1,200. A whole motherfucking house? Yeah. You could do something like that. But see, our mind ain't there. We want the money, we want the dream, but we don't have the drive to go get it. So if you ain't willing to sweat, you ain't gonna have jack shit. Final thoughts, Donovan.
All right. Final thoughts. Again, I want to thank Dion for coming on. Brother, you are always welcome to come on the show. I love people that have a different perspective. People always look at me and say, this motherfucker's always talking about the money. He's always, doing the right thing or whatever the deal is. Not saying it's the right thing, but they on to something. But here's my closing thoughts. The next 4 years are going to be very interesting years. Right now, $2,000 is what Trump said. Hey, why don't we give him $2,000? And we know it's a game. But isn't it funny how after the fact, Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats talk about, oh yeah, we're going to go back and bitch, if you really wanted us to have $2,000, you would have done it from the very beginning. You would have fought from the very beginning. But she going to cave to $600. This is the representation we bring, and we expect like these great results. But just like a lot of y'all, woo, look at them. They fighting. Aunt Maxine is in there fighting for $600. They think that's good enough for you. Now they want to come up with $2,000 and blame it on Trump. But wait, the person that's talking about $2,000 is Trump. He wants to go out with a bang. Anybody with sense knows $600 isn't enough to do anything with any bills you might have. But you know what? Y'all going to big up Sheila Jackson Lee. Y'all going to big up Maxine. Y'all going to big up the icon John Lewis. Y'all need to get these people up out of office. Y'all really do. Because a woman that I endorsed here in California, she is now the assembly speaker in the state of California. And when I talk about somebody who's accountable, this woman is accountable. But guess what? She's going to do for her people. Those Hispanic dreamers in California now have a champion that's going to be looking out for them. That's what we need to start doing. Once these bastards don't do what we're supposed to do, you got to go.
Final thoughts, Ms. Demetra, and I need you to pull a calculator out on your end real quick.
Okay, so you want me to do it now?
Yeah, just have it out. I need to do some numbers real quick when I do my final thoughts.
Okay, I got the calculator. So, my final thoughts is thank you so much, Dion, for coming on here. You took the plunge. You're welcome anytime you want. We love having conversations with people, and we especially enjoy having a conversation with you tonight. And I would just say, unfortunately, there are some people who will literally starve to death waiting for somebody to help them. Just don't let that person be you. Where there's a will, there's a way. You got to tap into what God is giving you. He's given us all talents, abilities, gifts, and all of that. No, you may not be the best basketball player or gymnast or whatever, but whatever it is that you know how to do, find somebody to pay you to do it. It's really that simple. If you can cook, find somebody to pay you to cook, or whatever it is you can do. Somebody can help. Like my brother always says, somebody bought the chia pet. I wasn't one of them, but somebody did. So figure out what it is that you can do and get people to pay you to do it. But more importantly, stop making excuses. And we need to help each other.
Now, I'll say men lie, women lie, numbers don't. How many Black Americans are in the United States of America, Demetra?
About 44 million.
Okay, so 44 million. Remember that number.
Uh-huh.
So initially, we were supposed to get 600. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
So now Trump is pushing for 2,000. Pelosi is pushing for 2,000. So that's an additional $1,400. Can you multiply $1,400 by 44 million?
It's a lot.
So why don't we take that lot that we wasn't supposed to get and buy this motherfucking whole goddamn country? That's $1,400 we wasn't supposed to get. So why don't we take that? If you got 10 partners that take that $1,400 That's $14,000. Go hit that tax roll and see what we can buy. Won't we do that? It makes sense to me. So bottom line is, we will spend money and buy what we want when we want it. And if you want your life to be better, you can make it better. Stop fucking around and get it done. Say, man, another spirited discussion from the best in the building. Man, it's the War Zone. Want to thank Dion for coming on. And any of you guests that want to come on, send us an inbox. Let's talk about it. Don't be scared. Don't let your job be the reason you can't speak the truth. Because it is what it is. I want to thank my good friend Donovan Sadiq, the Queen, Demetra K. I'm the 5-star general in the morning, 7 o'clock, Warzone morning show. Just type in street100theheat.com in your browser and push play. And then you'll understand why Ricky Smiley got to take a back seat to 5-star. It is what it is. Say, man, until tomorrow, we'll holler at you.